Good afternoon. Welcome to St. Cloud Rotary, the best place to be on any Tuesday in St. Cloud. And we're just glad you're here today. We have a special guest today. Our District Governor, Bob Stoll, is here to speak to us. So I look forward to introducing him and look forward to the opportunity for each of you to hear from him and his vision for our district this year. Well, let's start by standing and reciting the full wake up. Of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And Len Carlson, do you have songs for us?
You bet. We'll turn to number 34. Take me out to the ball game.
Good idea.
Good idea. Yes, sir.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, so it's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame, for it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
And number 2, America.
My country 'tis of the sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, land freedom bring.
Leanne Davis has the invocation for us.
As we gather here today as members of Rotary, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community. Keeping in mind always and enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let us continue to strive to make our world and our community a better place. Amen.
All right, thanks, Leanne. Everybody can have a seat. By the way, Glenn, I really like your shirt today. That is cool. That wakes me up. That looks good. Thank you. By the way, right now there are some little bags going around. Where are the bags right now? The bags with kids, and raise your hand. Gary's got one over here. There should be one on the outside of the room. It's already gone over here. Great. Please take one of those pins. That is the pin for the international team, and it's yours to keep. But we need the extras back. We have a limited number of actual pins, so whatever doesn't get passed out, please return them back up front to do the last one with the bag. Okay, our greeter today was Bill Maney. Let's get Bill in. Bill, do we have any visiting Rotarians with us today?
Not that I know of, but you might have snuck in.
Is there anybody in the room that's a Rotarian that's visiting us today besides our guests up here? All right. Well, I do want to acknowledge that not only do we have our District Governor Bob Stoll up here, but we also have Kristen Curda, our Assistant Governor for Area 7. So let's recognize both of them. How about other visitors or guests in Rotarians over by the way we just got?
I have my lifelong friend here today from Phoenix, Arizona, Jim Brody. They like to get out of Phoenix in the summer as much as we like to go there in the winter.
Member in transition, Tom Olson, ex-Columbia General Manager, St.
Welcome, Bob.
I'm just to introduce my guest, Matt Killian, who's Vice President of External Relations for the Initiative Foundation.
All right. Hi, Matt. Any other visitors or guests?
I can introduce.
All right, well, welcome to everybody that's joining us today. Yes, oh, one more. Yes, Glenn.
I'm Glenn Mitchum's visitor. I'm his daughter from Paris.
Thanks for coming. All Right, I want to do, for our Rotary Minute today, I want to share with you a little news item that some of you have already seen. This microphone work. There we go. Some of you may have already seen this. It was shared on a link, but I'm assuming most of you have not. So I'm going to play a little video clip of a news article or a news item that was put out regarding our Summertime by George Festival. So sit back and enjoy. I think we actually have sound, so let me know if you can turn it up. I'm going to pause it and see if I can find the volume. Anybody know exactly where the volume is on this speaker system up here? Justin, do you know where it is? 'Cause I want you to be able to hear this. Got it?
Summertime by Lake George is an event that the community of St. Cloud can appreciate, whether you're a kid or still a kid at heart.
We have a free concert that brings out people from all ages and all walks of life. It's really a testament to its community.
Now, when you think about community, you may just think about the residents within the city of St. Cloud.
People come from the whole region. You just mentioned people from Painesville, people from Clearwater. I know people from Rice. So it's not just St. Cloud, it's the whole region.
With diverse people coming from all parts of central Minnesota, you have to wonder about crowd control.
It's really been a safe, fun event with very few problems, if any. And so it's the interaction we get to have with the community, with the kids. The interaction with the kids is great.
Kids and families are always a top priority when planning community events. Children who attend Summertime at Lake George are always drawn to the trampoline park, splash pad, and the ever-so-classic ice cream. Good job! Ice cream is just one of the chilly treats you can get. Another is beer.
Every night a different band. And I think people come out, it doesn't even matter what the music is. It's just coming out and listening to a free concert on a Wednesday night is great.
Some come down to Lake George for the farmers market and the live music, but others come just for the people.
It's almost like every week is a new reunion with people. You see a lot of people that you don't see on a regular basis.
Summertime at Lake George takes place every Wednesday night from 5 to 9. For UTVS News, I'm Julia Allen.
I hope you guys are starting to catch the...
In the St. Cloud area, some farmers are pleased with the brand.
I hope you all are starting to catch the vision for the kind of impact that Summertime by George is having on this community and all of central Minnesota. You really should be proud of that. I mean, every one of you that has participated in this in some way, it's pretty cool what's been started, and it's awfully fun to go out there and just see how much fun people are having with this event and the impact that we're having on the community. So, good job, everybody. A couple of other specific things I want to throw out there this week. One is John Swada is here. I don't know if you guys knew it or not, but John actually brought the raffle vehicle out to Granite City Speedway on Sunday night. And has it been through the car wash yet, John?
Yes, it has. We went from Whitney to Washington.
There were at least 3 senses that were treated. I was one of the people out there trying to sell raffle tickets, and your senses were treated to smells and sounds and dust. There was all those things. Yeah, I might be losing the battery. Can we check on that? Because it's just flashing on me now. Wait, we'll try that. Let's see. Okay, I won't touch it, I promise. Anyway, it was a great event. I want to thank John for setting that up. I think that we had Craig Ruck and his wife were out there, and Lee Monk was out there, and myself and John had some. Maybe somebody can help me out with the battery. All right, I'll just talk loud until. So that was just great, and I appreciate John setting that up for us so that we could sell it. We probably sold an extra, what do you think, 30-ish tickets probably? So another 30 tickets because of John's efforts in getting the vehicle out there. So if any of you know of any special events that are coming up, or if anybody wants to bring the vehicle to one of the county fairs or that kind of a thing, whatever venue we can sell those tickets at, it's terrific. Just show a little initiative, let us know, let Christy know, and we'll be glad to take advantage of that. Other specific thanks that I want to throw out there, Troy Fritz and Bill Maney for providing your vehicles to help the cleanup go a lot easier out in summertime by George. We threw all the things in the back of Troy's truck and Bill's trailer, and it makes it a lot easier. And then specifically to the folks, I was out there last week helping out, I was amazed between Diane Kroska, John Bastian, Troy Fritz, Mark Mathias, Tom Rickard, Ed Meyer, Bill Winter, Lee Monk, Jerry McCarter, and Chris Wolliver. A lot of work got done in a fairly short amount of time. It's quite the effort, and I want to thank all of those people and the others that I mentioned as well. So let's give them. Now, I do want to make sure we leave enough time for our district governor, but we have just a few announcements. Diane, do you have any today? Of course. Okay.
That's the silliest question I've heard in a long time. Okay, I hope I can talk loud. Last week, can you believe it was hot and sweaty out there again? You know, but it's not the exception to the weather. It's like if we get a good day, that's the exception. This summer's been so hot. But we had about 5,000 people turn out for Transit Authority, and again, thanks to Schlenner Wenner for sponsoring last week. Also last week we had, everybody showed up. We did not have any no-shows, so Tony, are you here? They must be really afraid of you. This week we have Bella Diva. That's a show band playing variety music, and the sponsor, no, I'm doing this off my head, Bachman? Okay, sponsors Bachman. Forecast, 88, Newman. Again. Couple things I want to announce. Of course, make sure you show up tomorrow if you're scheduled. Stay and help clean up, as President Drew said. If everybody stays and helps, it gets done quickly. Next week we're having our first ever art fair. That's starting at 10 o'clock, along with Phil the Flyer. So make sure you put that on your calendar, and if you have any opportunity to tell people about it. And then we just added on August 22nd. Monroe Crossing was rained out. We canceled that night. And so Monroe Crossing will be playing on Wednesday, August 22nd from 5 till about 6:30 till our regular entertainment starts. We have an extra band that night. So that's all I have, unless anybody has questions.
Troy, do you want to clarify that last part?
Well, Monroe will be playing from 5 to 6, and there'll be a half-hour break, and we might try to keep the jazz band that was supposed to perform or whatever, and then it'll be followed by Gavina and the Vagabonds. But just this month, you know, we have Bella Diva, who's fantastic if you've never seen them. Kurt Jorgensen Band, Diamondback, Monroe Crossing, and Davina and the Vagabonds on the 22nd. And then our final night is the Fabulous Armadillos. All of these bands have the potential to bring in, you know, 8,000 to 9,000 people. So if the weather holds well, we should have great turnouts and just fantastic performances. So. And thanks also to Joe Seifert for his help with his pickup truck as well. It's nice when you get a little fleet driver around out there, it goes pretty quick.
Yeah, sorry I missed you, Joe. It really does help. So, and thanks also to Troy for setting that up. We thought we were going to miss one of those bands, Monroe Crossing, and we're able to basically double down on that night. It should be a lot of fun. So try to promote that, get a lot of folks out there. I think that's all I had for announcements. Or no, a couple others. Go ahead. Andy?
Yeah, just real quick, just a reminder, next week we're at St. Benedict Center for the grilling outdoor lunch. We have a full list of volunteers to help out, so thank you for signing up last week. If you have an interest in still volunteering, we need, I think grillers were full, but help with cleanup after the fact, just come on by and help out. I spoke with St. Benedict Center yesterday. They're excited. They've already spread the word that we're coming, and it should be a good turnout. So,
and Andy, if you're not a volunteer, but you're coming just for the meal, what time should you be there?
I believe normal time, correct?
Okay. Noonish, roughly 12:15.
Yep.
Okay.
Andy, setup is that starts at 10:30?
Set up people 10:30, arrive, the tent should be set up and ready at 10, and then they'll have people there to tell us what to do and where to go.
Bill, did you want to add something to that?
Another topic, remind us the first Thursday of the month, Rotary after hours at the holiday. Want to remind everybody?
Yep, that's this Thursday.
For makeup and get some of the people you haven't had a chance to meet there.
This Thursday, what time do you get started over there, Bill?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock at the holiday. Yeah, Brian.
I wanted to mention next Tuesday, 11 would be our membership meeting, but with St. Ben's, maybe we should talk about that. So we'll discuss that over email. We'll find a date. Well, otherwise, I just wanted to say thank you for all your kind words. My father passed away last week. It was very nice to hear everybody. So thank you very much.
Okay. Greg.
Bloodmobile again. John Padilla sent me an email. It looked like it took longer for him to register online than it did to go to find blood. So I guess you can try registering online. If that doesn't work, just drop in any time. There's always room for somebody down there. But if we really want to get something going, and let me know that they're trying to get away from doing that type of stuff. They want everybody to register online. So I think it was redcross.org if I remember right. And so give that a shot. You can think that 15-year low on blood supply right now.
Thanks, Greg. Any other announcements? All right, we have about 5 minutes for Happy Bucks, and then I want to get our district governor on. So, Dave, I see you jumping up. Anybody else that has some Happy Bucks? Both of you come up. Anybody else that hasn't, come on up and get in line too, so we can get these through.
I am so happy. I scrounged together. I think I've got a buck here. There we go. That I got left after. I got a new son-in-law officially Saturday night down at the lake. Beautiful weather. Great party. The band from Minneapolis said that, you know, as far as wedding dances or parties go, that we were really one of the best they'd ever been at. So we had a great time, and right now Chris and Rachel are down in Naples, Florida on their honeymoon. So there we go, I'm done.
I just want to know if Dave took this out of the bus meter. It looks to me like he's been robbing your kitty or something.
Well, I would just like to thank John Speedway Sawada for setting up the ability to sell some tickets. It was kind of slow to start off with. We were standing around talking to a lot of people, but I sold all of my tickets that I had with me, which were 8, in 5 minutes. So a lot of good opportunities out there.
High pressure.
Well, I'm a happy buck because my sister, who had a brain aneurysm and open brain surgery a week ago yesterday, is getting out of the hospital today. She's really fine. I have another buck because Gary Marson taught me how to sell tickets. And here's the secret, you guys. He said, no, Joan, you don't tell them they're $10. Tell them they're 2 for $20. And I did that, and it worked. It kind of breaks the ice. So, and my last buck is, Greg, who did I sell my last ticket to?
The winner, me.
I sold my last ticket to Greg. Because he said, will you go away if I buy it? I said, yeah.
About 5 weeks ago, I had my goddaughter here. I was, as I was saying, well, I won't use the term, introducing her. She just graduated from St. Cloud State, and one of our members stepped up, and she submitted a resume, and she was hired last Friday, and she started on Monday.
Awesome.
Oh, we're running right on time, but any other happy dollars anybody wants to throw into the kitty? Yes, go ahead, Teresa, come on
You
up.
know, some of you know, I broke my foot, and I was down in Summertime by George, I think all but 1 or 2 nights last year. I have not been able to get there this year because I can't stay on my feet. So I'm hoping to get back. I want to say thank you to the people who filled in to me, for me in the last couple of weeks. It was Tony Goddard and helped me out. Who else helped me? I can't remember. Renee. So thank you, Joan. So I really appreciate that. So there's 2, and I am now in Sturdy Sole shoes, which I had to go and buy because I don't own any. All I have is high heels. And my husband had his ankle replaced 4 days after I broke my foot. So he's been at home, but he is now just in a boot and in physical therapy, and everything's on schedule, and everything went perfect with his. So it really is miraculous, and orthopedics is where it is in the future.
All right, going once, going twice. Any last happy dollars today? Okay, well, thanks everybody for your generosity. It's our privilege today to have visiting with us and speaking to us our district governor, Bob Stoll. I want to introduce you to him by reading a little bit from his bio. Bob Stoll is Senior Vice President, Chief Operating Officer for U.S. Federal Credit Union, an $850 million financial cooperative serving the greater Twin Cities community. In this role, Bob leads the credit union's consumer, mortgage, and commercial loan and deposit functions, 8 full-service branch locations, and a member service center. He has over 30 years of financial institution and commercial lending experience and has addressed audiences across the country on a variety of lending and operational issues. Bob is a member of the Burnsville Chamber Public Policy Committee, past chairman of the Burnsville Economic Development Commission, chair of the Chamber PAC Board, and is a current member and past president of the Burnsville Breakfast Rotary Club. Bob is married to Karen, and they have one daughter who is in college. Bob's hobbies after family, work, and Rotary include being a pilot, riding Harleys, golfing, and he recently retired as a sergeant working part-time for the Sheriff's Office. Please join me in welcoming Rotary District 5950's Governor, Bob Stoll.
See if I can get this adjusted right. I shouldn't have messed with it, right? Notice that, don't. Can you hear me all right? Yeah. Did it go dead on me? There. All right. Well, thank you, President Drew. Thank you, Rotarians. I'm very pleased to be out here today to visit a club such as your club. And I say that because your club is what I wish all of our clubs in our district were like. You do so many different things, and you do them all so well. And because of that, our district, one of 538 around the world, tends to be a district that ranks up there very highly. A couple of noteworthy areas are our Rotary Foundation giving, and a byproduct of that, of course, is the products that we do. The projects that we're able to do. And we've done over 70 in the last 2.5 years. I have some mentors, and usually a district governor does. Mine are past district governors, Sandy Schley, Rod Shilcroft, and Chris Holm. And they are really very helpful to me to help guide me through my year. As it was mentioned, I am the Chief Operating Officer of the U.S. Federal Credit Union, and I'm very fortunate that my CEO has been willing to share me with Rotary for these next 90 days. Now, in some of the presentations that I made, I stopped there and I had people afterwards coming up to me and saying, well, that's pretty great that you get to take 90 days off to go out and do this Rotary stuff. And so I've since had to correct that. He shares me with Rotary, which means nights and weekends I spend at the credit union, and then during the week I'm doing the club visits. But it's still very gracious of the organization to be so supportive of what Rotary does. You went through the 4-way test, and I think it's really the guiding principles for what we do. I have a question for you, though. Wouldn't it be neat if companies across the United States would operate their businesses under the principles of the 4-way test? What about our elected officials? Oops. I have a proposition for you. Next time you run into an elected official, I ask that you tell them that you're in Rotary, recite the 4-way test, and ask them if they would make their decisions in the future based on the four-way test, we'd have a lot better legislation, and I think things would get done a lot quicker. Everybody always wonders, how did you get in a Rotary? How did you become a Rotarian? And I'd like to share a little bit of my story with you. I was raised in the state of Virginia. I had a sister a couple years younger than me, and I had a brother about 8 years younger than me. In our family, unfortunately, we dealt with a lot of physical, mental, and emotional abuse. As kids, we were never allowed to talk unless a question was asked of us. We were never allowed to participate in any sports. We could never have friends over to the house, nor could we ever go to anyone else's house. It was a very controlled environment. But it was even worse than that. Food was rationed in our home, and I don't recall any time during my first 18 years of life that I wasn't thinking about where was the next meal coming from. And the sad thing about it is my dad had a pretty good job. There was no reason for us kids to have food rationed out to us. When I would go to school, job number one every morning was to figure out whose lunch I would steal every day at school. All I thought about was, where's the next meal coming from? So when I hear about families here or abroad that do not have food or water, I fully understand. Until this basic need is fulfilled, nothing else matters. There will be no success in education, no goals, no plans. In school, as you can probably imagine, my grades were pretty bad. I still have some of the report cards. D's and F's. I might have gotten a C in there, but I'll guarantee there was no A's or B's. I use that as my opportunity to be able to talk and not be held back. I read pretty well, and I used books that put myself into the character of the book, and that was how I escaped some of the things that we're dealing with in our family. When I was a teenager, I thought of doing some terrible things to my family. Fortunately, I did not. I can tell you this, I don't think my brother, my sister, or I ever felt like that our parents cared about us or that they loved us, ever. If they hadn't had us, I wouldn't be here, but it was under some unusual circumstances. When I was about 15, my dad called the kids downstairs one Saturday morning, and he says, your mom and your brother are taking a trip to England. My mom was from England. And so we get in the car, go to the airport, off they go to England. And we come back home and life continues, except it's just two kids now, but no change. Little did I know that it would be almost 25 years before I would see or hear from my brother again. Finally, I'd had enough, decided to quit school and enlisted in the service. I remember I was telling you that for 18 years all I thought about was eating. I'm 6'1" today, almost 250 pounds. When I went in the service, I was 6'2". I lost an inch somewhere over the years. I was 6'2", and I didn't even weigh in at 125 pounds. I had to eat bananas to be able to get in the service. When my dad dropped me off, his parting shot to me was, you're so damn stupid, you'll never amount to anything, so you better make a career out of the military. Everybody complained about military food. I didn't. I thought it was great. I got to eat whatever I wanted. I got milk. I didn't get milk at home. They screamed at you, but they never hit you. I was okay with that. Scream away. As long as I know that I've got the next meal coming, I'm good. I remember my first paycheck. This will date me a little bit. Keep in mind when I went in the service, although I was 18 years old, I probably didn't have the social skills of maybe a 12 or 13-year-old because I'd never participated in any sports, had never had any interaction with kids. So I was really behind the curve. I'd never had a job, never had any money. My first paycheck, $66. First thing I did is I went and cashed that, got it all turned into $1 bills. I was rich. You'll never guess what was the first thing that I bought. It was toothpaste, because in my family you brush your teeth with bar soap. So now I got to have toothpaste, and that stuff tastes pretty good. My military career did include being in Vietnam in 1969 and 1970. That was a pretty tough time. Well, a damn dumb kid did end up finishing high school in the service. Went on to graduate from college, the only one in my family to do that even to this very day. So now you have some understanding about my child life and why I get so concerned about kids and families without food and water. It is very, very personal to me. Once I left home, it was up to me what I would become. And quite frankly, I had some serious choices to make. Could have gone either way. I knew that the way that I was raised was so incredibly wrong, but there was no way to turn back the clock on it. That 18 years was gone. It was what it was. From my perspective, though, I didn't feel like my life started until I was 18 years old. Early on, I wondered how I would turn out, and I often thought about how many other kids out there might be dealing with some of the same things. And over the next 15 years, while I was getting my life in order, I was constantly thinking about how do I impact others that may be having a tough time in their life, maybe needing food, water, or even hope. And so I looked at service clubs, and finally settled in on Rotary. I figured that was a place where I could have some impact and that I might be able to influence some others that maybe were experiencing the kind of life that I did. I think that was the point where I started becoming a person of peace, and I've continued to move away from the lifestyle that I had into the person of peace that I am today. I am a Rotarian, and I know that if you talk to other Rotarians in this room, they would have equally compelling stories about why they're in Rotary and why they serve their communities, both local and international. I got married in 1989, became a papa late in life, but it wasn't easy. My wife had talked about wanting to have a child, and I said no. I'm too fearful of kind of the only life that I knew, and it wasn't good. And my wife kept saying, no, we can manage this, you won't go back to those days. So after some persistence, and I'm glad that she did, we are grateful to have the daughter that we have. She's just the life of our life, and I'm proud to say that we broke the abuse cycle. Rotary has had a lot of impact over the years, and they've really done some very significant and noteworthy things. I want to talk about a couple of them. The first one is in the area of polio eradication. This started arguably 25 to 28 years ago, and most of the credit belongs to Rotary, and yet Rotary gets the least amount of credit. And I'll explain a little bit later why I think that is. We have formed partnerships with CDC, Center for Disease Control, WHO, World Health Organization, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and others to try and resolve this issue of getting polio off the face of the earth. When I talk about this, people tell me, well, the youth, they're not going to relate to this. Well, why not? Well, because they're so young, they may not know anybody that's had to deal with polio. Well, my answer to that is, what they do know is that we've been working on this now for 20-some years. The job is not done, and we're not stopping until the job's done. And that does resonate with those under 40. When I do this, everybody in the room knows exactly what that means. We're this close. We're down to 3 countries. India had its last reported case over a year ago, and so it's off the endemic list. Now think about that. Here's a country with 1.2 billion population, no reported cases for a year. We're down to 3 countries, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Nigeria, and they are rough countries. And to make matters worse, last week I received an email from the board of directors telling me that the incidence of the outbreak of polio in those 3 countries over the course of the last year has gone up exponentially. And so they've asked me to make sure that when I'm talking to clubs, to ask you to keep giving to polio, because we need to get this job done. We're currently at a deficit of about $945 million for this current year. What this means is that it's pushing back planned and emergency immunization activities, and if not dealt with shortly, could derail the program. We cannot let that happen. We must look for donations both from within our Rotary organization and outside of our Rotary organization. We're this close, we have to finish the job. The next area, the year is 1989, not that long ago. That was the year that Rotary opened its doors to women. This organization is so much better off for having made that decision. The first woman to join Rotary was a gal by the name of Sylvia Whitlock. I know her, and here's why. She, like me, on July 1st, became a district governor in the state of California. How cool is that? We have 1.2 million members in Rotary, 200,000 women, about 16%. This district, always on the leading edge of greatness, shines in this area too. We have 62 clubs. 27 of those clubs have female presidents this year, almost 50%. Isn't that cool? This next area is a tough one. Over the last several years, Rotary has been very actively engaged in polling members and obtaining feedback in how to sustain Rotary into the future. This has resulted in the Rotary International Strategic Priorities and Goals. It was updated in 2009, but the question is how did we get here? And one of the things that I hear, maybe less now than I did, say, 3, 4, 5 years ago, goes something like this. Rotary is made up of a bunch of old white guys. Now let's think about that for a minute. First off, those bunch of old white guys used to be a bunch of young white guys. But for many, many years, they led this organization and got it to where it is today. But thank goodness for their foresight, because they also realized at one point, not that many years ago, that the things we did here that worked so well here may not sustain us into the future to do what we need to do. I think that's very commendable, and I think that shows a lot of foresight on their part. If we want to be a sustainable and viable organization, we do need to revitalize our organization from all levels. And so several things came out of that. One of those, support and strengthen clubs. I will tell you this, if our clubs are healthy, Rotary will be healthy. Now, I think this is such a critical area, and in our district, many of you know Tom Thorpenson. I asked him to lead this. And so you should expect that there'll be some things coming out from him to help provide best practices on how you can keep your club vibrant. And I'm sure some of the best practices will probably start from this very club and go out to other clubs looking for help. The second is focus and increase humanitarian services. This is led by Bruce Headlong. And again, first on the list, eradication of polio. We have other things out there in the world that where we're needed. We cannot take our eye off the ball. We need to finish the job on polio first with this cause. The third area, enhance public image and awareness. Heather Voorhees is leading this for the district. So back to this talking about what we do. You know, we have great stories to tell about the things that Rotary's done over the years. We have great stories not only within our borders, but also internationally. Rotarians, when there's something to be done, they do it. They don't brag. They rarely care who gets the credit. And that's part of the problem, is that we've quietly gone about doing the things that are so necessary within our borders and outside of our borders, but we haven't told people about it. We now need to do that. I would tell you this, it is not now, nor has it ever been, about the credit, but it is absolutely about credibility. We need to share these stories because the youth, that group under 40, which I used to belong to just last year or something, they're looking for organizations like us. And so we do need to share our great stories. I was trying to think about how do I capture some of the international projects that we've done. The best way to do that is just to share a personal story with you. Last year, Larry Ziliaks and I had the opportunity to take 12 other people, go over to Haiti. We went over there specifically to put a building around a well. I'll tell you why that's so important. There are so many companies across the United States that have their hearts in the right place. They go over, they punch a well, and they feel good about it. They walk away from it 6 months to 12 months later, that well is not working. And so here you have these dollars going out, and you have a well no longer giving fresh water. Rotary does things, however, a little bit differently. They do put a building around each one of these wells. They expect the community to have a committee. They expect that committee to set the rates for, because everybody has to pay for the water, not like what you think, 7, 8, 9 cents a month to have fresh water. That money is used to keep the equipment repaired, and then they have these communities visited every quarter to make sure it's sustainable. We owe that to them so they have water. We owe it to you because you're making contributions, and it works. While we were there, I had the opportunity to participate in the well dedication. They take about 3 hours. Everybody in the community is there, the kids, moms, dads, local leaders, very emotional. There was a mom there, could speak a little bit of English. She had a son, what I thought to be probably about 13 years old. She had another son, what I thought to be like 8 or 9 years old. I asked her, how far do you have to go to get water? She said 2 hours each way. Now she's got this 5-gallon pail. And I don't know if you know, but when that's filled with water, it's 40 pounds. Larry and I and the rest of our team took one of those empty pails, put about a half a gallon of water in there. Not a single one of the 14 of us could keep that on her head. Not a one. She puts 40 pounds in there, boop, pops it up, and she's ready to go for 2 hours. I asked her, how much time will you save with this well here? And she says it'd be now 1 hour each way. And I thought, wow, that's great. So she cuts an hour off, and she's got clean water instead of having this water that she's got to go and distill. And so I started moving away. She grabbed my arm. She points to the little 8-year-old and said, and he gets to go to school. That's the impact that you have because of your contributions. Even though you may not be there, you can never underestimate your ability to impact peace in a very major way. You improve and change lives around the world, even when you're not there to see it. I know why I'm in Rotary, and I'm sure every one of you knows why you're in Rotary. We must tell a story, not for credit, but for credibility. We do make a difference, and we do create peace. Our president this year is a fellow by the name of Sukuji Tanaka. What a gentleman he is. I've met him a number of times. He has pretty much dedicated his entire life to peace. Now keep in mind, our mantra, what we're known for, is service above self. he wanted to find some way to connect to that and also to have him be able to have all of us on peace mission just like he'd been in his life. And hence we end up with the peace through service. And so each of you should have a pen at your place, wear that with pride. So you see, the theme this year is very, very personal to me. When I left home, I'm sure there was not much hope for me, even from my standpoint. I didn't have any dreams other than to escape the life that I had and to escape the abuse. Somehow I managed to take little steps towards peace and move away from the violence and the abuse. Step by step, I was moving to a future peace, and I realized that as my peace was being provided for me, I had to try and provide peace to others. Others that were maybe abused, like what I dealt with. Others that maybe did not have water, like some of the third world countries I've been in. And even others where, as a law enforcement officer, showing up at a home, domestic abuse, and seeing for many years what happens there. So I've been on a journey of peace. I need to challenge you, though, to see if you can also take that journey of peace, a call to action, if you will. Because if we take that journey of peace together, we can accomplish so much more. You may be wondering, how can I do that? Well, continue your contributions to Rotary Foundation and Polio Plus. Ask yourself, am I engaged in my club? Is there something more that I could do? Be involved in the district. Work as individuals or through your club to identify those that could be major donors or people that could give gifts outside of your club. This is how we'll end polio and have the dollars for local and international projects. Give someone the gift of Rotary, just like the gift was given to you. Ask them to join. And if you haven't been able to participate in an international service trip, do that. I have some thoughts on peace, probably better said than I could ever say. Every time we bring water to those without, every time we provide an opportunity for literacy, every time we give another child polio drops, every time we do what Rotarians do, we are creating the basic conditions needed for peace. Peace is not just the absence of war, it is also feeling safe, having enough food to feed your family, having an opportunity to get an education, and being able to thrive without being handicapped by avoidable diseases. Peace captures in one word, one focus, the concept of service above self, and centers each and every Rotarian on peace through service. And so, my wish for each of you as you travel through this year is that you discover your personal way to have peace through service. Thank you very much.
Anybody have any questions for the district governor? Jerry.
Bob, could you clarify your point about, I think you mentioned a $900 and some million deficit. I think that's what we've spent on polio up to this point. Is there a shortfall? Well, could you clarify that statement?
Sure. They had budgets set, and the rate of given versus the budget is behind the rate of given, and so there is a shortfall. There's an actual shortfall, which is slowing down the amount of work that we can do.
Even though we got $225 million from Gates?
Even though we got more than $225 million from Gates, yes. These countries, let me just talk about the three countries, so Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nigeria. You know, if it was just as easy as doing the immunizations, this would be pretty easy. The problem is that we have moms and dads that think by giving them this, we can sterilize their kids. We have countries that fight like crazy. Last Thursday morning, 6 of our soldiers were killed in Afghanistan by a roadside bomb. and we have Rotarians in harm's way trying to do these NIDs, these immunization days. And so it is very costly to get into that country, and it's very costly to do all the education, trying to get the peace days and all of those things. And I don't know all the details on it, but it's difficult, and we can't have this get outside of those borders, because if it does, we're going down a path that we fought so hard to go the other way. We will get the job done, but it is going to take money to do it, and it's very expensive at this point.
I just want to follow up on that. I think one of the unintended consequences of the bin Laden, when we put an end to him, was that it created a lot of suspicion in the Muslim community over there, because, you know, as they went around, they got DNA from family members so they could prove that he was there. And so that created a lot of suspicion. So I can see where that kind of is building and becoming maybe a bigger problem than we had thought it was just a couple of years ago. But where's the, since there's Rotary clubs all over the world, where's the leadership in the Muslim countries' Rotary clubs? Why can't they be the face? I mean, obviously they got a lower standard of living, and they don't have the discretionary time that we might have. But can we employ those people rather than our volunteers going over and doing it? If you're putting a face of a local countryman doing the immunization, that should create a lot less suspicion than the white guys coming from the Western Hemisphere.
Right, and I don't know if I can completely answer that question, but last week there was, and it might have been set up even a couple weeks before that, but we're notified that there's this emergency committee to deal with because of the rapidly accelerating outbreaks. And so I don't know what options they're looking at trying to help diffuse this rapid outbreak. But I know there'll be some things being done, and I'll be getting information. As I do, I'll share that with you.
Well, and I just think the last point is that it appears to probably a lot of people out there, as it does to me, that it's maybe less of a money issue than how they're doing it. So rather for the rest of the folks to say, yeah, we're that close, here's the money to get it done. I'm not convinced that they can get it done with any kind of money if they don't have the right solution. So that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, clearly we have to be able to get into the countries, absolutely.
Okay, any other questions? All right, well, let's thank Governor Stoll one more time. Well, it was our privilege to hear from Governor Stoll here today, and I hope you all are challenged by what we have to look forward to in the coming year. Those are some great points too, Marty. And I was reminded that you might remember in my opening remarks and my presentation, I shared that that story that appeared as recently as last month on CNN's website, where it's also being used as a political tool. That you recall in that story, there was some of the local tribal leaders in Afghanistan were basically putting the challenge to America to either pull out of Afghanistan or they prevent the immunizations from going forward in those countries. So there's this mixture of religious issues and cultural issues and political issues that are all standing in the way. But the bottom line is we can't give up, and just because we don't see it here every day, it doesn't mean it's not a problem. And unfortunately, polio is one of those things, as with any disease, it doesn't just stay in one place. And if we don't get control of that, it can spread back across those borders. So I can tell you that we are going to make it a point of emphasis, even what's left at Summertime by George. We are in the process of putting together some additional information that we can put in our booth out there, and hopefully actually start collecting from people that are coming to Summertime by George toward end polio now. So we're going to try to take better advantage of that platform that we have out there to start collecting for this cause and raising awareness of the need to eradicate polio. So looking forward again next week. We are at St. Ben's. Gather at the regular time unless you're a volunteer. If you come here, you may be by yourself or with the others who forgot. But we hope we'll see all of you back out there at St. Ben's. I do have a few more of the pins up here, the international pin. If you didn't get one when the bags were going around the room, I do have some pins up here, so come on and get some. I will save a few also for those that weren't able to be here today. And with that, let's do our loot drawing. And as you recall, I have still several names in the blue bag, and for those who haven't been here before, I don't know if your name has been drawn, but once it's drawn, it goes into the yellow bag, not to be seen again until all the names are drawn from the blue bag. So this is for the loot, and Troy Fritz is the winner this week. All right, Troy, only have to draw one name, so congratulations. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.